Tomorrow is the day.
Dude, we've almost made it, which I'm falling into my own trap. I keep saying that this doesn't end on November 6th. Like on November 6th, we don't just go back to normal. Like in fact, November 6th till January 5th is probably going to be the craziest time of this year. But
You're right. You're probably right. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm kind of falling into the trap where I'm like, thank God the election's almost here and it's over. And like, no, it's probably I would say it's more likely than not going to be crazy for a couple months after this versus like one side wins and the other side just takes it and says, oh, well, we lost. Like, I don't see that
Well, that's
happening.
the thing. I mean, if Kamala loses, she's just going to take it, right? But if Trump loses, he's going. I mean, there's elector things he can do. He's going to fight it. He's going to say it was rigged. I mean, he's already said it was rigged.
Yeah.
He's already.
What's
I think he did
interesting,
200 court cases already. He's already filed
so
200 court.
and it's kind of, it is a smart legal strategy. They're filing cases that they know they're going to lose right now, but so that there's basically later, if they file it again, it'll show that, hey, we tried to bring this up in the past. So it's kind of, they're setting the groundwork. Um, what's weird is the way that my read, and we're both probably biased. Like, well, let's both accept the fact that we're biased on how we see things. Um, I look at it and I'm like, man, Democrats seem nervous or worried, and I look at it and I'm like, if Trump wins, I think a lot of them are going to go, Kamala ran too safe a race, or she should have gone on Joe, or they're gonna be mad, but I think that they see a potential Trump victory coming, so I don't think they're going to be in disbelief. In 2016, everybody thought Hillary was going to crush Trump, so it was disbelief. This time, I don't see that. But what's funny is I had a couple dads over for football yesterday, and I asked them that, and they were like, "Oh, if Kamala loses, their side's going to riot and do this and that." And I tried to kind of reason with them, and I was like, "Really?" I was like, I see if Kamala loses, I think they're gonna be mad, but there'll probably be some. Remember, after Trump won in 17, there were the what was it called, like the pussy hat marches? Women in the streets
Yeah.
with their pussy hats.
Yeah.
Like,
Peaceful protests.
I think there'll be a lot of that, but I don't think there'll
Yeah.
be any storming of the Capitol. And these two dads they're Trump voters, but they're not in love with Trump. They kind of don't like him, but they're going to vote for him. And they
That's
were
most
both
everybody that's voting for Trump.
well, and they were both telling me they were like, yeah, from everything I'm seeing, like if Kamala loses, the Dems aren't going to take it. They're going to try to fight it and this and that. Kind of what happened with last time with January 6th. And it's like I don't see that. I think that Dems are kind of primed for this is going to be close and Trump could win. Maybe we're wrong. I think that the right, shockingly, everything we see on TV and on YouTube, where we see that the right thinks that Trump is going to win on a landslide, I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not hearing that from anybody in real life. Like people that I know that are voting for Trump, they're calling it a toss up. So I think that the right might be trying to plant that seed online, but I don't think it's taking hold. I think people see the polls and know this is going to be close. And plus, him losing in 2020 made them realize, oh crap, like he could lose. So
I hope so.
yeah. But there was good news over the weekend. Before I get to my good news over the weekend, is there anything Trump or Kamala did over the weekend that stood out to you as far as something we should talk about?
Um, no. I did have something in my notes, but I'll figure it out here in a minute. Go ahead with your thing.
Okay, real quick, did you see Kamala on SNL on Saturday night?
That was cool. Yeah.
Is that all of those are always going to be corny, but I thought it was as good as you can do with an SNL appearance. Like it was neat. I saw people this weekend were saying, and this people that were talking to me, not people online, they were saying, "Oh, that was dumb. Instead of doing that, she should have done Rogan." And I'm like, first of all, time commitment wise, a little bit different, but also like we all have to remember, like, not everything is they're not talking to you necessarily. Like if you're a Trump voter, like, oh, she should have done Rogan. She's not talking to you. That SNL was not designed to get a Trump voter to flip to Kamala. SNL was designed to get someone who's probably going to stay on the couch, and maybe they saw that and now they're going to get off the couch. Will it work? Who knows? But everything they're doing is targeted at a certain voter. And like things that I see that I'm like, I didn't care for that. Well, it wasn't targeted at me. And same with you. There's things that you see where you're like, I didn't like that. Well, she wasn't talking to you there. She was talking to a different voter. So
Right.
I don't think it was a bad move. I thought it was fun. My daughter watched it with me and thought it was neat. It was
I
fun.
liked the oh, did you see John Oliver? That's what it was.
I haven't seen him on Sunday this last Sunday yet. Did he do good? Did he do anything on the election?
Did you no, did you see the new song? Because the whole last one, I think it was last week's. He was talking about Lee Greenwood, who
Oh,
has
the
the
about how he changed the lyrics to be proud to be a Canadian or something along those lines. Yeah. that was I think Lee Greenwood's just trying to make money. If there's a country that wants his song, he'll change the lyrics to whatever it needs to be to work for that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have a family member. I'll just call her Shannon, uh, who I've totally corrupted. Where she used to not pay attention to anything, and now she's like, I love John Oliver and Jon Stewart and Bill Maher, and like she's watching all like the late night. I don't, they're not late night hosts. Like Jon Stewart delivers information. It's funny, but he delivers information, and it's kind of funny because where she's getting her news now, I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with this. It's much better than her watching Fox News. So like, this is perfect. Um,
Yeah, there you go.
anyhow. Saturday night, I'm out doing stuff with my friends, or sorry, with my kid, uh, and I start getting texts from buddies that there's a new poll that just dropped that is ridiculously good for Kamala to the point where like it's gotta not be real. And I looked at it and I thought for sure I was seeing like a deep fake type thing, like this is not real, and I'm trying to verify it. And the first time I read it, I saw that, oh shit, Trump's only up 47-44 in Iowa. He's up 3 in Iowa, which would be a bad sign for Trump. If he's only up 3 in Iowa, that's kind of scary for him if you're looking at it that way. But then I looked at it like a second and a third time, and this poll had Kamala up 47-43 in Iowa. Unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you right now, like this lady, her name is Ann Selzer, and she is, from what I've read, the gold standard in polling. She has been right more than everybody else, dating all the way back to like 2000. Like she has seen things coming that nobody else. In 2016, she saw a Trump victory coming. Every poll had Hillary winning by a shitload. She said, and she always releases them right before the election. And she said, nope. She said, I see Trump winning this, and everybody thought she was crazy. She was damn near dead on accurate with it. 2020,
Okay.
2020, she predicted a narrow Biden win, which happened in 2022. She predicted no red wave. Every other poll was saying red wave. She was the one that said no. The only one she got wrong apparently is like 2004, I think, is like the one where she was off. Other than that, she's on the
George
money.
George W.
Yeah, George W. versus Kerry is the one that she got wrong. I think that was
Is
'04.
that the one that went to Florida and
No,
Florida?
that was 2000. That was Gore
Okay.
Bush. Yeah,
Oh, Gore,
Carrie
yeah.
Bush was the one she got wrong. But other than that, and like when I say she got it right, like if she says it's Republican plus 12, it's Republican plus 12. Like it's not like she's kind of right, like she's on the money. Um,
Okay.
here's the thing with this poll. First of all, she is an outlier. Have you heard about people talking about the herding of polls? This is a thing that's been talked about over the past 4 or 5 days. The polls are herding. Have you heard about this?
No.
So these pollsters, just like every other thing in America, they're a company and they need to make money and they need to be right to make money. And if there's a poll that gets it way wrong, everybody will say, like, oh, remember that, Marist poll in 2016 that showed Hillary up 15? They were so wrong. And it gives that polling company a bad name. So
Yeah.
if all the polls are kind of looking like it's 50-50, 48, 47, 49, 48, they're right, they're pretty much a tie. If you suddenly do your polling and you do all the I can't remember. There's a name for it. It's where they basically adjust it. They put in their own metrics to make it what they think is going to be
Sure.
this year's voter turnout. If you get something that's way off from what everybody else is getting, that's got to be a scary time. And it's like, shit, everybody else is getting this, but we got this other completely different number. Do we put out our completely different number, or do we manipulate it to get it to be closer to what everybody else does so that we don't stand out? So that if it
Okay.
turns out that the polls were wrong this time, everybody got it wrong versus everybody got it right, but you're the one that got it wrong. So it takes. I'm going to use some crass language here, but it takes a big old set of balls to put out a poll that's way different than every other poll. And that's called
Yeah.
herding. And Nate Silver, he did a piece on this 2 or 3 days ago where he basically accused all of them of herding. And he's kind of explained why they're doing it. And he made it sound like it's not unreasonable that they're doing it. If you get the one outlier poll, it makes you start to question your own ideology and like, hey, did we do something wrong here? So to not stick out like a sore
Okay.
thumb, people move theirs closer to the baseline. So he thinks
Okay.
all the polls are hurting right now to where if one of them are wrong, they're all wrong and nobody takes our time. And more importantly, they get paid next time because people are paying for these polls to be done. You don't want to
Yeah.
be the one who was way off. She has got a set of cojones on her to put this poll out. It's completely different than what everybody else put out. Couple things. Could she be wrong? Yeah, she's been right a whole bunch, but that could also mean she's due to be wrong sooner or later, right? Maybe this is it. Maybe
Yeah.
this is when she's wrong. Is she right and everybody else is wrong? Couple key things. She did her poll like Monday through Friday of last week. Like it was that time period where everybody else's polls were a couple weeks ago. Remember, I told you a few weeks ago, instead of looking at the averages, we're now going to look at the most recent polls because that's what's really happening right now.
Yeah.
So hers is the most recent one. Also, Iowa put a 6 week abortion ban into place over the summer. Trump was up before that. The abortion ban comes
Mhm.
in. Women are upset. I have it here somewhere. Um,
And women vote.
she has Kamala winning women in Iowa by a 28-point margin, which is
Woo.
ridiculous. And women show up to vote more than men. Um, now, is this so? Iowa doesn't matter. Iowa gets 4 electoral votes for
Right.
really doubt. First of all, I'll bet Trump still wins that state, but I'll bet it's going to be like a 1 or 2 point victory, which is crazy because he needs to carry that state by 10 or 12. Um, but can you transfer what we're seeing in Iowa to those neighboring states? So Iowa's right there by Michigan and Wisconsin. Pennsylvania's
Yeah.
not far away. So if women in that state feel this way, does that mean that this applies also to the swing states that we need to care about? And that's a,
It's women across the country.
but you can make a couple, I could make an argument that yes, it is transferable to those states, but I could also argue that it's not. And one of the main reasons is Iowa had that 6 week abortion ban come in place. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan did not have that. So their
Okay.
women might not be as fired up. So
Hmm.
either way, it shows that if you're Trump, even if that polling is a little off, if Seltzer is she's not totally accurate, it's still red flag galore. Like things aren't going
Yeah.
as well as you think they are. Um, I'm I'm tempted to say I think she's probably a little off, but I think she's seeing something that nobody else is seeing in the polling.
Yeah.
Also, she had Trump winning all seniors, men and women over 65, or sorry, Kamala winning all seniors by 2 points. Ridiculous. Old people vote for Republicans most of the time. I've heard a
Hmm.
couple people say that the old people are kind of seeing through his BS at this point. Like they're seeing a
I think
con man.
everybody is. I think that's the thing. I mean, everybody you talk to who's a Trump supporter, they don't really like him, but they're going to vote for him.
Yeah,
Maybe if they
there's not a
show
lot of
up.
gung ho. What's funny is I've been trying to find a MAGA hat this whole time. Ever since our first episode, I wanted a MAGA hat because at some point on an episode, I wanted to take my headphones off and put on my MAGA hat just to get a reaction out of you. And I have
Uh-huh.
asked every Republican I know, and they're all like, "No, I don't own a MAGA hat." And I'm like, like 5 or 6 years ago, there were MAGA hats everywhere, and now either I think people are lying to me. I think they have one in their closet, but they don't want to put it on. But for whatever reason, no one will admit to me that they have a MAGA hat, which is bothering me. I just want to borrow it. I'm not going to hurt it. Just need it for a podcast, but it's too late. Tomorrow's the election, and I have no MAGA hat. If Trump wins, I'm going to rush out and buy a MAGA hat. There's a guy down on the corner that
Oh
sells like
God.
there's a guy on the corner that's been there every damn near every day recently, and he sells the flags that say like "Let's go Brandon" and like the F Joe
Yeah.
Biden flags. And
Don't support that guy.
I'm
Don't
sure he's
support
got
that guy.
MAGA hats, and I've thought about buying one just to shock you, like just to put it on. Either way, I might have to buy one if he wins. If he wins, the military's coming. I need to be able to prove that me and my family are good people and we support Donald J. Trump. So that's where I'm at. I will, you
Buy
know,
a hat or go to jail.
all those old movies, like the 80s movies, was it Red Dawn, where like the Soviets take over and,
Yeah.
like I would be the guy that immediately flips and I'm like, yes, sir. Like I will be communist now. Like as long as I don't have to fight anybody or die, like I'm on your side. Whoever takes over, I'm on their side. So prepare for me to become MAGA if needed.
I'm gonna live in the woods for a while.
Yeah, you do. You'd be like Patrick Swayze and all them that they fight him from the woods. Uh,
Yeah.
anyhow, now I'm going to throw cold water on the Ann Selzer poll. It gave me a weird little bit of confidence. I've ever that came out, and then Kamala went on SNL and momentum. Trump gave a couple speeches on Sunday, some rallies, and he seems so tired. And suddenly he's talking about if I lose. Oh, if I lose, it's going to be bad. And he keeps talking about if he loses, which makes me think he's not confident. And I think he's just a little worn out. Bottom line, that guy's 79 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's been all over the country for the last month. Like to say that he's tired, I'm not slamming him. I'd be
No.
tired. But a 79-year-old man doing it, like that, I'll bet he's worn out right now.
Exhausted for
Yeah.
sure.
But cold water on that story. I'm confident. Emerson came out the exact same day, and Emerson's a good poll. It's an A-rated poll. It's not as good as Seltzer, but it's pretty good. And they had Trump, and I believe that this was Iowa only, but they had Trump up 53-43. So she had Kamala up 4. The other poll in Iowa has Trump up 10.
Oh,
Which one's
wow.
right? One of them is way wrong. Who's it going to be?
That's a jump.
That's a jump. Now, New York Times Siena poll came out on Sunday. the New York Times Siena poll has not been kind to Kamala. They're one of the polls that shows Trump is up in some of these swing states, and like people get mad at them. But whatever your polling shows, release it. Like even if you think I'm not going to like it,
Yeah.
release it. That's my thing. People keep getting mad at them. Their Sunday poll came out. Kamala is +2 in Nevada, +2 in North Carolina. We're going to talk about North Carolina in a minute. She's +2 in Wisconsin, +1 in Georgia, which nobody else is seeing. Pennsylvania and Michigan are both basically tied, and then Trump +4 in Arizona. That being tied in Michigan is scary because that's a state she's supposed to be pretty well locked down in.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania tied, I totally buy. But so New York Times suddenly has polling that shows that like, oh, like Kamala has a path. Like theoretically, who knows? We've said this so many times that who's answering the phones when these pollsters are calling? Not
Yeah.
everybody.
No,
So
yeah. I don't know anybody that's ever taken a poll. Have you
the
ever
polls
taken a poll?
I have never. This could be a blowout in either direction, and all the polls could be wrong. So, for the fact that I spend so much time talking about polling and looking at polling, I might end up looking like a moron in 3 days for doing this. Um, but my current electoral map, my path to victory for Kamala is probably different than most other people's. I think she takes Wisconsin and Michigan, but not Pennsylvania. But I think she gets North Carolina. I think that's her dark horse state. I think she wins North Carolina. And if she
Hmm.
wins that, she still needs Nevada or Arizona or Georgia would put her way over. But I don't see her winning Georgia and North Carolina. If she wins Georgia, here's my other fun thing. If she wins
Well,
Georgia, you know who we have to thank for it?
who?
The last person you're going to think of, dude.
Yeah.
Good old Slick Willie, Bill Clinton himself. Uh,
Uh, yeah, but the
like
problem is Trump already has Georgia kind of on a like they're
so.
not going to certify the electors if she wins Georgia. That's the
Uh,
problem.
Apparently, one of the court cases that just happened that this guy named Mark Elias, who he does every case for the Democrats. He seems to be pretty good. He's got a great record for all these election lawsuits. He apparently won a case in Georgia like 3 or 4 days ago where the judge said, no, they have to certify. Like whoever wins, they
Oh,
have to certify. So I'm hopeful there. Um, but you know who the Democrat I already told you, but the Democrats like 6 weeks ago deployed Bill Clinton to Georgia. And I was kind of like, if Bill Clinton shows up and says, hey, I want to help, I would say, go the fuck home. Like, go, go, you're only going to hurt us. But there's this weird thing that I didn't anticipate where old white people listen to Bill Clinton. It's kind of like the
yeah,
thing where old white people like Joe Biden. Like even if they're
yeah,
Republicans, they still kind of he's a fellow old white person. So they
yeah.
sent Bill Clinton out to the rural parts of Georgia, and for the past 4 to 6 weeks, he's been just at all these little towns. He's not going to Atlanta at all. Keep him out of Atlanta, but in all these old little white towns, and he's apparently drawing crowds everywhere he goes. And right now, the turnout in rural Georgia is way up. And Republicans, when they first saw that, were very ecstatic. They were like, oh my God, we're getting record turnout in the country areas. Those are definitely Trump voters. Dude, Bill's been in their ear for like the last month. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if he loses Georgia and it turns out like those red parts of the state out in the country voted, Trump will win them no matter what. But if he doesn't win them by enough, if he barely wins them, it's Bill Clinton, buddy. Bill Clinton saved the day,
Ooh,
possibly.
ooh.
It might backfire too, but
Is he
I
doing
keep seeing,
lunchtime rallies out there? Is he doing like the lunchtime rallies?
yeah, he's
He's going
going
to
around and
diners.
shaking people's hands in diners. Yeah, Bill Clinton's out there spreading the
He's
good
good
word
at
about
that. I mean,
Kamala.
he's good.
I,
And here's something that just kind of popped into my mind is like Kamala has the support of Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, like
mhm.
all these former presidents. Um, Trump has nothing. Like George W's not going out and
No, and
rallying for him.
everybody's been holding out hope that W was going to come out like yesterday and today and like officially endorse Kamala. He ain't doing it. He's staying out of this.
Oh,
And everybody do your own thing. I don't hate him for it. But it looks
no.
like, and I read a really cool article about this over the weekend. But it looks like they were really smart about where they deployed everybody. Like Bill Clinton, you're going to rural Georgia. Barack, we need you in Detroit and Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I'll bet it's a racial thing. Okay, we need the black guy here. We need the old white guy here. That's probably how they're doing it. But like they've deployed all the
More of an
different
inner city to burbs type of
urban
thing.
area. Yeah, an urban area
Yeah.
versus the country. But if they win, whoever's running the campaign, whoever's doing that side of things, gets a high five for me for sure because they very smartly have put certain surrogates in certain areas. Tim Walz, we haven't been seeing Tim Walz very much at all in the news, but they've been using
Yeah.
him like they're using Bill, where they're putting him in diners and going into farmers markets and this and that.
Hmm.
It could be working. His job is to get white people, so is Bill's. We'll
Yeah.
see. I
Well, that's the thing is who does Trump have like rallying for him.
Have you seen
I mean, he has Elon, but Elon's a horrible speaker.
this weekend? One of the speakers said the good thing about voting for Trump is if you get seven presidents in one or something along those lines. And then the seven presidents was it was Trump, JD Vance, Elon, RFK, Tulsi, and Vivek. I might be wrong on Vivek, but they were basically
Oh,
trying to say you get all of it because he's going to put them all in. And then as soon as
yeah.
she said that, like the next 2 days, I've been seeing these posters on Twitter. Man, Elon is doing a number on my Twitter feed. My algorithm should be showing me like a lot of left leaning stuff, and all I'm getting is like pro Trump out the butt. If I open Twitter, it's 15 pro Trump things before I get to one thing that's not pro Trump.
Didn't Trump like sue Twitter before for
Yeah.
what,
What
Facebook or something for that?
what Elon's doing is exactly what conservatives complained about in 2020,
Yeah.
but you know what? They think the Dems did it last time, so now they're going to do it back. I'm not gonna get upset over that. I want this to be over so I can get back on Twitter and see the stuff that I care about because right now I'm just seeing like pro Trump.
Yeah.
There's one poster where it looks like a movie poster and it's Trump in the center and then all the other heads behind him and JD and Vivek and Elon
Yeah.
and it's like this is who you're getting if you vote. And so was it RFK came out like 2 or 3 days ago and said that like on day one when he gets placed in charge of HHS, he's gonna sign an order to remove fluoride from the waters. Which I've heard this whole fluoride in the waters thing. Is it good? Is it bad? I've heard people debate that.
It's
I
not good.
still
Yeah.
I still don't know if it's good or bad, but apparently in British Columbia in 2011 they did the same thing. They took fluoride out of the water and like it had disastrous health impacts, is what I read.
Hmm.
And it had to do with infections through like dental issues. And the amount
Hmm.
of people that had to be placed on antibiotics skyrocketed by like 700% over the next 5 years. We're trying
Oh,
to keep
interesting.
harmful things out of our body, taking the fluoride away to replace that with antibiotics. I don't know. I don't know at all. I just that one thing I read about British Columbia, Calgary in particular, was like it's like, oh, apparently the fluoride might be doing some good. I'll bet it's doing good and harm. Like a lot of other
Yeah.
things, it's not all good, but it's doing more harm than good, or it could not be. I don't really know. Um,
Well, from what I understand is like back in the day, when they were making something, they had excess fluoride
yeah, fluoride,
that
they needed to
they
find
figure
a
out
way
how
to
to
get
get
rid of
rid
it.
of, and so they sold it as like, oh, this is good for your teeth. We'll
Yeah.
just put it in the water.
I'll bet it's
So
good for your teeth, but it also causes like something that we're like not aware of. Like there's
yeah,
something bad about it, but
pancreatic cancer.
yeah, anything.
Yeah,
Uh, so that wraps up all my polling. The only other fun story over the weekend. Have you seen where his name's Michael Wolff and he's a author. He's written some books about Trump and he
yeah,
comes out of nowhere and apparently he claims he's been sitting on all these tapes of him talking to Epstein in 2017. And
yeah,
Epstein's just talking about Trump and how they were best friends in the 90s.
yeah,
And he said that he said that there are pictures of Trump with topless young ladies, doesn't say they're
yeah.
underage, but young sitting on his lap and this and that. And they were all in Epstein's safe. And now the FBI has all those. And I'm like, I don't buy this, but if the FBI has pictures of Trump sitting with like topless ladies that are potentially under 18, like why haven't we seen that yet? That's why I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like we would know
Yeah.
that or there'd be
Yeah.
something.
I mean, it's like Hunter Biden's laptop. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
the only thing that came out was a picture of Hunter naked and him holding a crack pipe. Like,
Yeah. It turns out
that's
Hunter's a
it.
shitty
There's nothing
person.
else.
It turns out Hunter's not a good guy and he's got drug problems and he's a sleazebag. Okay. That's what we
Is he a
learned.
sleazebag? Where did sleazebag come from?
Oh, he knocked up a stripper in Arkansas, maybe one of those states. And like,
Okay.
so Joe Biden, this is one of the best things that I think Republicans failed to capitalize on, but they tried to, was that there's a little girl in one of these southern states who Joe Biden is her grandpa, and like the Biden family has refused to like recognize her and like
Hmm.
this and that, and they've been holding that against him for 4 years. But Hunter's done some
Just
shit
like
like that.
Trump and Tiffany.
Say, I don't know anything about that one. Oh, Tiffany Trump is a key part now of Trump because Tiffany Trump.
Oh,
This is the weirdest thing that they never brought up. Tiffany Trump married a guy with Palestinian ancestry, and his parents are both Palestinian. And I feel like they should have, because right now, like nobody that's pro Palestine is pro Trump, and I feel like they should have tried to exploit that, but they didn't because I think they weighed it and they said this could help us get some pro Palestine people, but it's going to turn off the white people that hate Palestine. So they kept that. But yeah, Trump is now related through marriage to Palestinians, like closely related.
hmm.
So interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
those Epstein tapes, I'm like, if this dude, if these interviews happened in 2017 and he didn't think to share them before the 2020 election, like what the heck? He
Yeah,
saved them till
exactly.
3 days before this election. Um, I'm not buying it for like I think those tapes exist, and I listened to one of them, and he was basically talking about how Trump operates, but it's like, well, yeah, the stuff he was saying about how Trump operates, we all know. Like it was kind of common knowledge stuff he was saying.
Yeah.
So I don't, but I think that's more like that is the Democrats kind of doing the Republican thing where they're throwing out a Hunter Biden laptop story that's probably not true, but doing it right before the election. Just to, maybe it's going to scare a couple people that maybe they're going to
Yeah.
stay home. I think it's bullshit. I don't like when either side does that, but at the same time, Republicans are really good at that. And let's let the Dems do it for once. Like, I don't have a problem with the try, which
Yeah, it's all this information's coming out like right now, and it's like, why haven't you been talking about this for the last 4 years?
my theory is the stuff that comes out like within the last week is disprovable. And if they release it 3 weeks ago, we'll have time to debunk it. But if they release it right
Uh,
before, then there's not, it's, it kind of creates confusion and then you just go with it.
yeah,
Which, real quick, I thought for sure the Republicans were going to have a great October surprise. Republicans are king of that stuff. So I thought there was going to be some really damaging thing that's going to happen. Or we talked about a full blown war with Iran and Israel. Or, there's
yep,
so many things that could have happened. It's tomorrow, man. We haven't really had a Republican October surprise. I'm a little disappointed.
nothing.
Nothing, unless it's going to come out later today. But at this point, it's kind of too late. So, no Republican
Yeah,
surprise. Really, the best Republican surprise was Madison Square Garden, and the Republicans did that to themselves. Like that was kind of the equivalent of an October surprise. That shifted the vote just enough at the end.
so bad.
So, and we'll see. Maybe it didn't. Maybe Puerto Ricans are going to show up in mass for Trump. I don't really know.
No, probably
Um,
not. Oh, he did. Trump did come out with a. I think he just posted a video of some song. It was like a Cuban song saying, "I will vote for Trump." Have you
no,
heard
I'm sure.
that?
I'm sure they found one Latin American artist that is very pro Trump. It's like that. There's a
Yeah.
lady. I need you to look this lady up when we get done. Her name is like Anna Paulina Luna or something like that, and she's a
Okay.
congressman. And I just stumbled across this, but before she was a congressman, she was like a MAGA internet personality. That's basically a real hot Latino girl that would just take pictures of herself in MAGA bathing suits. And like, she
Hmm.
got famous for being hot and wearing Trump bathing suits, and then parlayed that into becoming a Republican congressman.
Oh,
Good for her. Like she went
wow.
from hot Latino that supports Trump to congressman. Cool.
Oh,
Um,
so I want to talk House and Senate. So
okay,
if Trump starts to challenge the electors in some of these states,
okay.
it's the House's job to rectify that, right?
No, so only if we don't get to 270. So when we convene to count the electoral votes, the House and the Senate come together, and you know who the head of that operation is going to be?
Yeah, Kamala Harris.
The president of the Senate, which the president of the Senate is the VP of the United States. So Kamala is in charge of that day. Now, the one place Republicans have the advantage is if through not certifying, we get it to where nobody gets to 270. So if nobody hits 270, then it goes to the House. And in the House, the states decide, and it's a matter of who has more representative per state. Trump wins that easily. So even if Kamala just wins by 10 million in the popular vote, if enough
Unless the
states,
Democrats can take the House this time around.
yeah, but even if they take the House, no, because they could technically have the House but lose the state by state vote because certain states like Texas have
Uh,
30 or 40 now, I think, representatives. So it comes down to who has the majority in each state. There is a weird math thing where Democrats could have the House but not have the state by state vote.
oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So it'd be, I think at no point in the last 20 years would a Democrat have won that state by state House vote if it would have come to that. So it's just the way that
Dang.
things are laid out. Um, that being said, I haven't looked at Senate polls at all. So
Why would it just go to popular vote at that point?
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like that'd be a way better.
It should be popular vote right now, but it's not going to be so unless Trump somehow wins the popular vote but loses. We talked about that. That would be an immediate. So, um, we're running low on time, but here's my over under, and I hope we talk tomorrow before any results start coming in. But over under, I don't even have a good time. I'm going to say Pennsylvania, Allegheny County in Pennsylvania. That's the
Mhm.
one we had to wait like 4 days on last time. They said they're going to be done counting votes by midnight on election night. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know if they're really going to do it, but that's what they said. Um, we could really have a result the next day. Now, Trump is going to do exactly like he did last time, and he's going to win the day of voting, and we're going to see those numbers. Trump's going to jump out to an early lead, and then they're going to start doing mail-ins and all that. At what point does Trump say, "Stop the count. I've won"? He declares victory. He says, "Stop counting," because he did that last time. He did that, which that's the
Yeah.
craziest thing. It's like, hey, there's uncounted ballots, and he's like, "Stop the count." That's
Yeah.
so authoritarian, but he's going to do that Tuesday night. At some point, he's going to come out and say, "I've won, stop the counting." And
Oh,
he's going to purposely do it as soon as they end day of voting. I'm going to say over under 9 p.m. Eastern, Trump
19
declares
Eastern. Okay.
victory. Do you think it's going to be before or
Okay.
after that?
Well, what time is all the counting? What time do we get all the?
Every state closes at different times. I think we're going to start getting results around 7 or 8 o'clock my time. So 8 or 9 o'clock uh, Eastern time.
I bet he does. Like, as soon as he's up, as soon as he gets up at anything, he's gonna say
Okay.
stop the counting, and he's gonna keep saying it until he's down. Right?
And then he's going to
If
say they
Kamala
should have
takes a little
stopped
bit
it.
of a lead up, he's not gonna say it anymore. But then if he kind of bounces back up,
That's
he's gonna stop the counting. He's just gonna kind of do this all night long.
That's the dumbest thing is when I hear people say, like, "Oh, Trump was winning on election day," and then they started doing their ballot dumps
Yeah.
overnight and he lost. It's like, yeah, no, those ballot dumps or they counted the mail-in votes. Like
Yeah.
it's not like a mystery of where these votes came from overnight. Like every state is very clear on what's happening here, but like I think MAGA people tend to be like la 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 la. They don't want to hear the answer. They just want to believe that there were these incredible ballot dumps overnight that somehow went real strong for Kamala. Yeah, because Trump is telling people not to vote by mail. So of course the mail-in ballots are going to be heavily Kamala.
Yep.
It drives me
It's
crazy.
it's gonna be
Uh
fun, but yeah, let's try and get on a bunch tomorrow during I don't know,
yeah,
maybe we do one pregame and then like as it's coming in. I like Steve Kornacki. I like watching
he's good on
he's
the
got the big
map.
screen.
So
Yeah.
I got this all planned out because in my office here, I've got a TV behind me, I've got one to my right, and I've got one to my left. I've got two monitors in front of me, plus a whole second computer over here, and I've got two
Oh,
iPads that are charged and ready to go. So I'm gonna have every station that I can think of, it's a TV station, YouTube channel, whoever's running live coverage, and I'm gonna be in my chair just like a 360 turret, like going from place to place, and try to be the most informed person in America as this happens tomorrow.
you're gonna have an election command central
Dude,
going
I
on
tried to
there.
get you to drive here to sit here with me and enjoy this, and you wouldn't leave. Uh, but yeah, like what stinks, I've told you this, but tomorrow is my daughter's birthday, which
Oh
I
yeah.
told her I was like, I love you, and I'm going to be there for you, but I'm also going to be invested in the news, so I'm going to try to be present for her, but it's going to be tough. So I should have
Yeah.
planned this out better. Why did I have a kid at the beginning of November? Every 4 years, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Well, real quick, over under what time? I said 9 o'clock. Is Trump going to declare victory over or under before or after 9 p.m. Eastern time?
I'll go pre 9 o'clock.
Okay. I'm going to say after 9 o'clock. I'm going to say it's going to be 10-ish, 10 or 11.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
we'll
I'll say
see.
it's like right at like 8:50.
As
He'll
soon
just be
as
like, yeah,
as soon as the
8:30,
first results
8:50.
come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as they start coming in, he's up. He's gonna call it for
Yeah.
himself.
Okay. Right now, percentage chance that Trump wins.
Oof. Oof. 48.
Okay. I have it at like 45 to 47. I think it's
Okay.
very, very reasonable that Trump could win. Like if it happens, we
Yeah.
can't be shocked. Um, Kamala could also easily win. I told these two dads I was talking to yesterday, I said, I think it's a toss up, but if I had a pick, if I could be one or the other, I think I'd rather be Kamala right now.
Yeah.
But I don't even feel real strongly about that. So I think she's
Yeah.
barely favored. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So,
We'll
all right.
see. Tomorrow's the day.
Yep.
We'll tune back in. Everybody like, subscribe, and vote.
Yes. Hey, what's your plan to vote? Real quick, we got a minute. What's your plan to vote?
I already voted. I mail
Okay,
in.
good. I watched a thing where the most important thing was to have a plan to vote and to talk to your friends about what their plan to vote is. So I just
Oh,
asked you. I got to go talk to all my friends and ask them what their plan to vote is. So
yeah,
good
I
deal.
mailed in. I already got an email saying it
Okay.
was counted, so I'm
Awesome.
good.
You call your dad. No, actually, don't call your dad.
He already voted.
Call any lefties you know and ask them what their plan to vote is.
Fair
So,
enough.
all right, later, buddy.
All right, have a good one.
You too.